Eva Marie Saint. Eva Marie Saint didn't need to shout to be heard in Hollywood's golden age. Her film debut in 1954's On the Waterfront earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress at the 1955 ceremony, a rare feat for a first-time film performer. Critics praised her subtlety, a quality that set her apart in an industry that often favored flash over finesse. Around the same time, she was frequently compared to Helen Hayes for her standout work in live television dramas, building a reputation as one of the medium's most respected dramatic actresses before transitioning to the big screen. In 1959, Saint stepped into the world of Alfred Hitchcock, starring opposite Cary Grant in North by Northwest. Balancing glamour with grit, she played Eve Kendall, a mysterious double agent with a pistol in her purse and secrets in her eyes. Hitchcock, famously meticulous, reportedly gave Saint more say in her wardrobe than most of his stars, an unusual move that fueled speculation about the director's trust in her instincts. Some even suggest he saw her as a muse for a new kind of Hitchcock blonde, less icy, more enigmatic. Off-camera, Saint avoided the chaos of celebrity culture. She married director Jeffrey Hayden in 1951 and remained with him until his passing in 2016, a rare 6-decade Hollywood marriage that quietly defied the odds. While others chased headlines, she returned to the stage focused on family and kept her career selective. Her low-key approach may have cost her flashier roles, but it earned her something rarer: longevity and deep respect. Now at 100 years old, soon to be 101 in July 2025, Eva Marie Saint stands as one of the last surviving stars from Hollywood's golden age. Whispers persist that she turned down more than one major role in the 60s to stay close to home, though names are rarely mentioned. Whether true or not, her legacy was never built on quantity. It was built on precision, poise, and a quiet kind of power that still resonates decades later. Rita Moreno. Rita Moreno didn't just break barriers, she demolished them. By the early 1960s, she had already made history as the first Latina to win an Academy Award for acting, claiming Best Supporting Actress in 1962 for her electrifying role as Anita in West Side Story. But Hollywood wasn't ready to evolve with her. Instead of capitalizing on her talent, the industry kept her boxed into roles that echoed tired stereotypes: spicy, exotic, and always on the sidelines. Moreno resisted. She turned down roles that compromised her dignity, even if it meant long gaps between major gigs. Her career, once muted, roared back with a vengeance. In 1975, she won a Tony for The Ritz. By 1972, she had snagged a Grammy for the Electric Company album. And in 1977, an Emmy for The Muppet Show sealed her status as one of fewer than 25 performers to achieve EGOT status. But behind the accolades, there were storms. Her long, turbulent relationship with Marlon Brando made headlines and heartbreak. Speculation swirled about emotional breakdowns and a self-inflicted health crisis during their on-again, off-again saga. Moreno later confirmed that period nearly broke her. Still, she emerged with grit intact. In 2021, at age 90, she returned to West Side Story, this time playing Valentina in Steven Spielberg's reimagining. The move wasn't just symbolic, it was powerful. And even now, well into her 90s, Moreno continues to speak out, challenging tokenism and demanding more for Latino representation in Hollywood. Many believe she's not just a survivor of the golden age, she might be its last torchbearer still lighting the way. June Lockhart. June Lockhart carved out her place in Hollywood history long before space travel and heroic collies made her a household name. Born in June of 1925 to actors Gene and Kathleen Lockhart, she stepped into the spotlight at just 13, appearing in MGM's A Christmas Carol in 1938. By the late 1950s, she had become a fixture in American living rooms, taking over the role of Ruth Martin on Lassie, after Cloris Leachman's brief one-season run. Then came Lost in Space in 1965, where Lockhart portrayed Dr. Maureen Robinson, one of television's earliest female sci-fi leads. Her poised, no-nonsense performance helped anchor the show's wild premise in something relatable. Whispers have long floated that Lockhart had quiet sway behind the scenes, possibly influencing creative directions, though she remained publicly modest about her role. Known for her professionalism and warmth on set, she earned deep respect from colleagues across decades. Even in her later years, Lockhart stayed active in public life, supporting causes ranging from children's health to animal welfare. As of 2025, she remains one of the last surviving stars from television's golden age, an enduring symbol of classic Hollywood grace and grit. Anne Blyth. Anne Blyth's breakout in Hollywood came fast, and nearly ended just as quickly. At only 16 during filming and 17 by the release of 1945's Mildred Pierce, she stunned audiences with a chilling turn as the scheming Veda, a role that earned her an Academy Award nomination. The New York Times praised her performance for its maturity, a striking leap from her earlier days as a child soprano on radio. But behind the scenes, a toboggan accident during production left her with a fractured spine and temporary paralysis. Doctors warned she might never walk again. Yet within months, she was back in front of the camera, reportedly still in recovery and braced in a body cast. In a town where injuries often meant career death, Blyth's return became the stuff of studio legend. Over the next decade, she proved her range, singing in lavish Technicolor musicals like Kismet, portraying tragic figures in biopics such as the Helen Morgan Story, and trading lines with comedy greats like Donald O'Connor. While many of her peers were swept up in scandal, Blyth charted a quieter path. She married Dr. James McNulty in 1953, raised 5 children, and managed to avoid the chaos that consumed so many stars of her era. Insiders have long speculated that her early brush with disaster gave her a different perspective on fame, one that kept her grounded. As of 2025, Anne Blyth stands as one of the few remaining stars from Hollywood's golden age, a reminder that resilience, not just talent, can shape a legacy. Mamie Van Doren. Mamie Van Doren wasn't just a blonde bombshell of the 1950s. She was Universal's sharp-edged response to Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield, but with noticeably more grit. Born Joan Lucille Olander on February 6, 1931, Van Doren signed with Universal International in 1953, where the studio quickly transformed her into a platinum-haired icon. But while others played the part, Van Doren lived the rebellion. Her breakout role in Untamed Youth in 1957 wasn't just a showcase of teenage angst, it was a mirror of her off-screen defiance. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Van Doren refused to play along with the studio system's carefully scripted image-making. She turned down a contract extension with Universal, rejecting the control that came with it. That move cost her major roles, but it gave her something rare in Hollywood at the time: autonomy. She leaned into B-movie territory with films like High School Confidential and Girls Town, which were panned by critics but devoured by younger audiences. These weren't prestige pictures, but they cemented her as a symbol of youth rebellion. While Monroe's image was curated by 20th Century Fox, Van Doren was crafting her own persona, loud, unfiltered, and unapologetically independent. Behind the scenes, she faced pressure to conform. Studios reportedly demanded she lose weight, tone down her sexuality, and even alter her appearance. She refused. That refusal made her a lightning rod for gossip, and a favorite target of the tabloids. Speculation swirled about high-profile affairs with names like Elvis Presley and Howard Hughes. Many believe these stories were planted by publicists to keep her in the headlines, but Van Doren played along, often using the buzz to extend her screen time. As of 2025, Mamie Van Doren remains one of the last living stars from Hollywood's golden age. Well into her 90s, she's active on social media, where she posts unfiltered reflections and photos that reject both old-school glamour and modern-day filters. That kind of candor has earned her a new wave of admirers. While many of her contemporaries faded from public memory, Van Doren continues to provoke, inspire, and challenge expectations, just as she did in the 1950s. Catherine Bowmont. Catherine Beaumont's voice helped define the golden age of Disney animation, even if her name rarely lands in the spotlight. Born in June of 1938, she began recording as Alice in Wonderland at just 10 years old, with the film releasing in July of 1951. Industry whispers suggest Walt Disney personally selected her, drawn to her articulate delivery and unmistakable English accent, a detail that became part of Disney lore. 2 years later, she voiced Wendy Darling in Peter Pan, released in 1953. But Beaumont's contribution went beyond the sound booth. She also served as the live-action reference model for both Alice and Wendy, performing scenes in costume so animators, like Mark Davis, could capture natural movement. This hybrid technique was a hallmark of Disney's animation process during the post-war years, blending realism with fantasy. Despite her early fame, Bowmont stepped away from Hollywood in the 1960s, earning an education degree from the University of Southern California and teaching elementary school in Los Angeles for decades. Some fans theorize that her decision to leave the limelight may have been influenced by the pressures of early stardom, though she's never confirmed this. Today she makes rare but warmly received appearances at Disney fan events, often met with standing ovations. As of 2025, she remains one of the last living voices from Disney's mid-century animation era, a quiet but enduring figure from a time when animated films were reshaping Hollywood's future. Barbara Eden. Barbara Eden's rise to fame wasn't a straight shot through a magic bottle. In 1960, she landed a role opposite Elvis Presley in the Western drama Flaming Star, a serious turn that gave no hint of the whimsical icon she had soon become. By 1965, Eden was cast in I Dream of Jeannie, a sitcom that would define her career and cement her as a pop culture fixture of the golden age. The show ran until 1970, but its reruns never left the airwaves. Though she didn't hold formal creative control, Eden occasionally influenced the show's tone and character development. Industry insiders have whispered for years about her behind-the-scenes savvy. Some suggest she pushed for more input than most actresses were allowed at the time. In her memoir, Genie Out of the Bottle, published in 2011, she opened up about the rigid expectations placed on women in Hollywood and the emotional toll it took. Her personal life was marked by profound tragedy, including the loss of her only son, Matthew and Sarah, in a substance-related incident in 2001. Despite it all, Eden stayed active in entertainment, performing on stage and appearing in specials well into her 80s. Now in her 90s, she occasionally speaks on mental health topics, drawing from her own experiences. And at fan conventions, her line still stretches longer than many current stars, proof that some legacies never fade. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.